The People's Crusade! Part 2. Peter the Hermit and his ragtag army of religious kooks began marching out en masse from Cologne, Germany on a northeast route, and it wasn't very long before the unruly rabble began to harass Jews along the way and steal all their gold, and justified it by saying the Jews were infidels because they killed Jesus, and killing infidels was their Crusader duty.
Don't vote, Jew boy!
But I'm only half Jewish.
Okay, then we were gonna kill you halfway. Oh.
Some of the more inebriated Crusaders, led by a shitbag German knight named Count Amico, took a northern detour after deciding to follow a goose they thought was blessed by the Holy Spirit. Apparently, the goose must have also hated the Jews and been a huge, unapologetic anti-Semite.
Follow me. I'll provide you with snack cakes and show you where the Jews hide all their money.
The talking duck wants to lead us on the wild goose chase.
We really should go. I need the vacation. Plus, we get to beat up Jews.
Count Amico and his band of Teutonic thugs raged through towns along the Rhine, extorting money from the local Jewish population not to kill them, then killing them anyway after getting paid because they were stupid infidels, and so thousands of Jews were mercilessly slaughtered.
A bunch of verkackte guys are heading this way. What are we gonna do, Moishi?
Oi, hide all the gold and the wax and bagels and save his face.
To restore some faith in mankind, it should be noted that many Christians did help the Jewish people by hiding them in their own homes, or by helping them escape to the mountains where they could lay low out of harm's way until these anti-Semitic Crusader scumbags left town.
Hey, is there any Jews hiding out inside the barn? Nope, only us Empire caution chickens here.
Meanwhile, Walter the Penniless and his crew had reached Belgrade with little incident. But when Byzantine bureaucracy caused supply shortages, some of his knights got all pissy and began sacking a local market for food and beer. The perpetrators were caught, beaten, stripped of their armor, which was hung on the castle walls, and sent on their way.
You steal my sneaky I'll kill you!
Don't kill me! I was hungry!
Peter the Hermit's homeless horde was totally out of control and starving by the time they reached Hungary. So they began pillaging and looting local towns, in spite of the fact they were fellow Christians. Hungarian King Koloman was in no mood to deal with this shit, so he sent out his troops to kick some Crusader ass and sent the rabble running for their lives across the border into Belgrade.
How you like my Hungarian spear stuck up your ass, Frenchie?
Honestly, it's a real booty bag.
When the Crusaders reached Belgrade, they saw the armor of Walter's knights hung up on the walls, which caused a lot of anger and mistrust of the Hungarians, and soon a big argument broke out between the locals and the Crusaders over the price of a pair of shoes.
350 for a pair of sneakers?
You goddamn crooked fuck!
But there is limited edition Air Jordans!
The argument turned into a tussle, which soon became a real Donnybrook, before descending into a melee and escalating into a no-holds-barred, full-scale riot that resulted in almost 4,000 Hungarians being killed by the hangry, savage mob of crazed Crusaders. Realizing they just fucked up big time, and that King Koloman would soon be sending his troops after them to retaliate, Peter the Hermit and his lowlife horde began stealing boats, canoes, pool floats, jet skis, and wood from local houses to make crude rafts in order to get away across the Sava River to safety.
Here's my version of Love Cats. I hope you dig it.
The homeless horde hurried on to the town of Nice and immediately began causing trouble there. But Byzantine soldiers weren't playing and quickly beat them down and forced them to keep on marching right out of town. A group of angry German knights at the rear decided they didn't like how they were being treated and set fire to the town's mill and caused widespread destruction.
Them Germans is a bunch of sauerkrauts.
By now, everyone was getting really fed up with these unruly asswipes and began fighting the Germans at the rear. When Peter the Hermit was told of the commotion at the rear, he hurried back to calm things down. But the Byzantines were like, "Oh, fuck you too," and took his war chest.
That's my whore money, you dirty Byzantine cunt!
No worry, old man. You're still getting fucked.
Things quickly got out of hand, and the mob then began attacking the city. But being little more than unarmed hooligans, they were easily repelled. So they gathered even more Crusaders together and attacked again. But this time, the leader of Nice was sick and tired of their nonsense and sent out the full might of his vastly superior army and killed about 10,000 of the dopey Crusaders.
Go back to France, you stupid Franco fucks!
I don't like your anti-Frank too, mister.
Battered, busted, and broke, Peter the Hermit's shitbag army was beaten down and escorted by armed and angry Byzantine soldiers the rest of the way to Constantinople to assure these violent dirtbags wouldn't be stirring up any more shit while passing through the Byzantine Empire.
Move that cart and get the hell out of my way! The anthill mall's on my tail!
Hey, the posted speed limit in Byzantium is 25 miles an hour, so slow that chugabug down.
Back in Hungary, Count Amico and his German thugs showed up and began pillaging small villages outside the city walls. King Coleman, who by now had had it up to here with these unruly Crusaders, sent out his troops and annihilated them, causing Amico to flee home like a pussy.
Uncle Lieber, I think I left my oven on. I will go home and check. Good night.
Let's stop all the hate. Kiss me, girl.
Peter the Hermit and his ragtag Crusader army finally reached Constantinople in August 1096, and you can only imagine what Emperor Alexios was thinking when he saw 30,000 filthy, homeless, religious psychos piling up at the gates of the city. Needless to say, this was definitely not the help he was expecting to get from the Pope.
Oi, if the Lord Jesus is posted of everything, then why does he hate M&Ms?
He hates M&Ms because they keep falling through the holes he got in his hands.
Alexios provided the Crusaders with markets to buy food and supplies, but since they were just a bunch of piss-poor peasants, they had no money to spend. So they quickly resorted to what they did best and began to raid small villages outside the city and steal everything they could get their hands on, even the lead from the roof of a local church. Alexios knew this situation was unsustainable, and he wanted to avoid killing them all. So he began to ferry the smelly Crusader mob across the Bosphorus Strait into Asia Minor as quickly as possible, and told them to sit tight and chill out at an old abandoned Byzantine army camp at Civita until the real Crusaders came.
Hey, who keep making pee-pee on my rose bushes?
Goddamn peasants! They're a bunch of fucking animals. You should string them up.
By October of 1096, the entire mass of homeless Crusaders were now in hostile territory, and so they began raiding local villages for food and stuff, and killing anyone that resisted, not caring that they were attacking fellow Christians because they looked foreign, wore weird clothing, and ate smelly food.
Get me a dozen.
When news of this mob of fanatical Franks running wild in Asia Minor and causing chaos reached Seljuk Turk leader Kili Arslan, he didn't give it much thought because he was too busy fighting family members and other Turks that were trying to oust him and take over. So he sent a small contingent of soldiers to deal with it and kill all the Franks. Toot sweet.
I got 26 wives, 52 kids, and 100 shitbag relatives that want to see me dead. I'm not afford to worry about these dumb, smelly Franks.
A bunch of French knights were trying to impress the other Crusaders by attacking the large city of Nicaea. But with no siege equipment, it was just a big waste of time. So they gave up. But as they were leaving to get back to Civito, they ran head-on into Kili Arslan's small group of soldiers and quickly overwhelmed them and killed them all.
Whoa, whoa! Time out! I sleep! I said time out!
Emboldened by their minor successes, the Crusaders started getting cocky and made more daring raids into bigger towns and plundered more loot, which led to arguments and fistfights between the French and the Germans and Italians over who was best at pillaging.
You stupid crowd! You think the beer's a vegetable!
Go und eat eine Schnell, you stupid French fuckface!
Stop!
The French knights then split from the main horde because they said they were holding them back and kept needling the Germans and Italians by boasting about all their successful plundering. The German and Italian knights were getting real pissed, so they sent out a group of about 6,000 soldiers and attacked a small Seljuk fortress outpost at Zeragordos.
We show these French fuckers how to plunder.
Zeragordos was guarded by a few dozen Turkish soldiers, and as soon as they saw the group of Crusaders coming over the horizon to attack, they ran away as quickly as possible and abandoned the fortress. Now the Germans and Italians could stick it to the French because they had their very own home base to conduct their plundering parties from.
See, Merabim, we have lost to a bunch of homeless bums.
And now it is us who are for to being the homeless bums.
It's okay. I got revenge. I dropped the deuce before we leave and no flash.
Was this all truly God's will? Or was it just a random string of really good luck? Amazingly, this homeless horde of smelly Crusadan riffraff had been on a successful roll since first arriving in Asia Minor. But God has a really weird sense of humor and works in mysterious ways, as these pompous pilgrims would soon find out for themselves. The Crusaders were now brazenly raiding every small, and mostly Christian, town and village they came across, and were causing complete chaos as they ran hog wild. Peter the Hermit realized he had lost all control of the mob, so he hopped on his ass and headed back to Constantinople to beg Alexios for help to contain these violent maniacs.
Jesus Christ! You fucking dirtbags are incorrigible! Enough of this bullshit! I'm fucking out of here!
Oh look, Skittles!
Meanwhile in Zeragordos, the Turks that fled came back with a whole lot more Turks and put the fortress under siege. That's when the Crusaders realized you should always hire a licensed contractor, because their poorly designed new home base had the water supply located outside the castle walls.
God damn it! Who drank all of the diet coke?
It didn't take long before the Crusaders inside the fortress were driven mad by thirst and began to cut their horses and asses to drink the animals' blood, or pissed into each other's cupped hands and drank it. Ugh. After 8 days of baking in the desert sun with no water, they had no choice but to surrender, and were either killed outright or became slaves.
I understand we is desperate, but for Christ's sake, that's just a pervert.
Kili Arslan then sent spies into the Crusader camp at Civito to spread rumors that the knights of Zaragodos had just taken over Nicaea as well, and were having a real swell time looting and pillaging the city. But the booty was going fast, so if they didn't get their butts over there ASAP, all the good stuff would be gone.
While we sitting here discussing things, them Italians is getting rich.
He's right. We must stop acting like the pussies and go get the booty.
It's a trap!
Walter the Penniless and some of the smarter Crusaders urged everyone to chill out and wait for Peter the Hermit to return. But they were called homos and pussies by the other Crusaders, and so, of course, greed won over common sense. A French knight named Geoffrey Burel said he was no pussy, so he was in charge now, and he was leaving in exactly 10 minutes to pillage Nicaea and get some cool booty. Practically the entire Crusader army, about 20,000 or so greedy scumbags, joined with Burel and rushed off to Nicaea like a bat out of hell, half drunk and singing and laughing as they paraded along and having themselves a ball as they imagined all the riches that awaited them there.
I'm gonna invest my loot into something safe, like an IRA.
I'm going to spend my loot on recording my solo album.
About 3 miles outside of the Crusader camp, the road began to narrow and the woods thickened considerably as the drunken, disheveled horde loudly marched along, totally unaware that thousands of heavily armed Seljuk troops lay in wait to ambush them just down the road a piece.
Yo, who keep on for to be cutting the cheese?
I am for to being sorry. I eat too much tasty kebab at the buffet.
Suddenly, the sky turned black as thousands of arrows rained down and killed thousands of Crusaders in an instant. Even old Walter got hit with 7 arrows and died. Chaos ensued as the Crusaders tried to turn around and retreat on the tight roadway as the Seljuk cavalry came tearing through and cut down thousands more of the fleeing Crusaders.
I hate to say it, mon ami, but I do think that we have been had.
As the slaughter continued, Geoffrey Burel did what great leaders do and ran like a deer through the woods all the way back to Civito to save his own ass. The smarter Crusaders saw this and followed in his footsteps, but those that stayed behind to fight because they were too macho or too stupid to run away were ultimately destroyed by the Turks.
Le fils d'enferme now.
The survivors stumbled headlong back to Civito, thinking they would be safe, but they were closely followed by the Seljuk cavalrymen, who tore through the camp and killed all the women, elderly priests, sickly peasants, and pet turtles. The Turks spared the lives of about 100 children that they rounded up, and they kept as sex slaves.
I am for to be calling names on the nerdy one with the glasses.
Burel and a few thousand other survivors found refuge in an old dilapidated Byzantine castle and barricaded themselves inside using piles of shields and big rocks to block the entry. But with only small pebbles and their own feces to use as ammo to fight the besieging Turks, they were dead meat.
Is there any ammo in there?
No, but I did find some new magazines.
Luckily for the Crusaders, Byzantine navy ships came to their rescue and broke the Turk siege and saved the lives of the 3,000 or so Crusaders that were left. And lo, the People's Crusade came to an ignominious end and was deemed to be an epic failure. But was it? As we will soon see, maybe not.
I can't believe they botched it all up. I don't know why I keep on rooting for them. I feel like a stupid Jets fan.